some people might say he's a little crazy for suggesting this. He wants to ban the Bible for Florida state's efforts to remove other books, such as, the 54 math textbooks. But this comes to us from NPR by Matthew S. Schultz. And I guess what, turnabout is fair play. They want to ban, 54 textbooks. They want to ban living or Genderqueer was the book I mentioned earlier. Yeah, ban the Bible. It's full of sex. It's full of, incest. It's full of violence and genocide. So Chaz Stevens is an activist, and this is something that he does. He likes to kind of poke the bear in Florida, whenever there's some type of hyper religious thing. And with this Florida law, part of it allows parents to report materials that they deem is inappropriate for their children, whether it's, for sex, whether it's for demonic possession, whether it's for CRT, which is what those math books were getting banned for. It's also weird because parents got into this partially because of the pandemic. With their kids staying home, they're finally paying attention to what their kids are doing, what their kids are learning, which you think, okay, great. Oh no, it's not, because they're like, you're learning that? That's evil. And
that's downright unbiblical.
It's certainly unbiblical.
You're learning biology. Oh.
So, yeah, before somebody says that this is mostly a joke, it's a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, because, Chaz does not have kids himself. But he is saying that, hey, look, if you're banning for very similar cases, you got to look to the Bible. And we even put a question in the channel, as if you would read the book, or if you read the Bible to a young kid, would you do that? And the results of that are fairly mixed, and even certain atheists are saying absolutely, and every word of it. It's like, well, maybe not to young kids, but
depends on the age of the child, I would say.
It does depend on the age of the child. But Laura, what do you think?
Okay, so I had mixed feelings about this. I really applaud anybody who can articulately point out hypocrisy, who can say, well, here's fair game, especially when you have people like the Satanic Temple who are putting up, oh, if you're going to put up a Christian monument, we're going to put up a satanic monument, or something similar. So I do, on the one hand, see the benefit of playing their own game. On the other hand, I don't. Only because I don't think there should be such a big push for banning books in schools, period. And we should be fighting against the banning of the books, not saying, oh, you're going to ban a whole bunch of our books, let's just throw the Bible in there, right? Let's just get that, put in there too. And then all is fair in love and war, and we're all happy, and yay, we did something good. No, we didn't, because those other books are still banned, right? So I get that he's trying to make a point. I like that he's trying to make a point. I'm just a little wishy-washy on whether or not his point is going to land. What kind of positive versus negative outcome it's going to have. I like that it's generating conversation, so I can't say that I dislike what he's doing or that I disagree with it. But I will say that I'm a little bit conflicted about it. Taya, what did you think? Did you have a specific point of view about it?
Yes, I like that I disagree with you, and this is going to be awesome, because I'm one of those who are saying, oh yeah, it's fair game. And I like what you mentioned, but I think that this is not only, oh, now we are even. I think that he's actually fighting the ban of the books. That's why I support this, and I feel that he's doing the same thing that the Satanic Temple does. Okay, you want to ban all these books because they have this special thing? Well, look at the Bible. So, should we ban the Bible? No. Then why are we going to ban these other books? at least I think, or I feel that that is the point that he's trying to make, where he's trying to get to. So I could consider this Florida man finally a good Florida man, a hero.
A
We
Florida
were
man we can
practicing,
be proud of.
yeah, because we were practicing the Find Your Birthday Florida Man news, and boy, it's interesting. So yeah, can we call him a hero? I don't know, maybe.
I
I
don't know.
mean,
Certainly
not all
generates
heroes.
conversation.
It does generate conversation, and not all heroes wear capes.
Fair.
I
Do we
you
know
know
he doesn't wear a cape though?
you know I don't know his entire life, so I can't really make that statement. You got a point there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not really too concerned about banned books per se, mostly because my dad, even as a theist that he is, has taught me to always read a banned book. So one of the biggest ones that he definitely wanted me to read was Huck Finn, and Huck Finn has
Mm.
a lot of issues with it. A lot of issues. The biggest issue, obviously, is the one character's name of Jim. I won't say his first name. You can go to the library and pick it up yourself and find out what his first name is. And I would say that yes, absolutely, read a banned book, because the first thing you need to find out is why is it banned. And I'm not going to tell you to go out and buy a banned book, and but definitely go to your library and pick one up and just go through it and find out and make your own decision as to why it's banned. Because knowledge, even if it's controversial, even if it's against the norm, is still knowledge, and how you deal with it is what really makes you more powerful.
I absolutely agree with everything you say, and I love seeing this push that on social media and in public spaces to do exactly that, to read banned books. There is really a public outcry about it. Like I haven't seen as many people in support of banning books, although I have seen them, as I've seen people against banning books, and so that in and of itself is really good. And I really want to applaud your dad for doing that. That's one thing I'm grateful about with my parents raising me too, is exactly the same thing. Be curious, ask questions, learn for yourself. Go for it, read that banned book. I don't think all people's parents are like that. I don't think that all kids who need to have that sort of um, uh, broadening of their education. I don't know if they're going to get that with banning a whole bunch of books, because the public school would be their avenue to have that sort of broadening critical thinking. How do we analyze this? How do we talk about it? So rather than banning a book, putting it in its context and being willing to have a hard conversation about it, might be something that I would prefer. So it's a toss up, right? Banning the books generates more conversation. It brings more popularity to it. Like nothing sells Harry Potter than telling people not to read Harry Potter. So that's all good and fine. But I don't like the concept in and of itself of saying this isn't allowed. Saying that like a particular type of literature is not appropriate for a particular curriculum, that's fine. Saying like, "Oh, okay, kindergartners should not be reading 1984." Sure, like easy, right? It's when you say because these books have these specific messages that they can't be taught at all, that's where I take issue. And I like what the state's Democratic leader Lauren Book said. She said, "Places like Russia and China, modern day examples of what happens when free thought and free speech are tightly restricted in all levels of society, including school." And we have to remember we're like the frogs in the pot of water. Like things don't happen overnight. Like boom, we're oppressed, right? They happen slowly over time as we lose our rights and we lose our ability to ask questions. And so I'm not sure it's an overall positive. I really think that in the long run it's a loss, not a win.
Actually, we were talking with other atheist activists earlier about this issue that is happening right now. And
Mhm.
something that a friend of mine said that it's still in my mind is banning of books has happened in the worst of times ever. It happened when they were burning people on the Dark Ages. It happened in Nazi Germany, and it's happening in the USA. And sorry, I'm bringing this down. And I know I have said this like 3 times today. This is going to be my fourth time, I guess. I am scared because the USA is going through a really dark time. And guys, I really hope I'm wrong. But I feel like you are going through, as Laura said, going those small steps that are going to take you to either a dictatorship, a theocracy. I don't know. I really hope I'm wrong. But I do feel that whatever that is happening right now, history is going to remember it in future, and it's not going to look good at all, and it's going to be awful. I really, really hope that I'm wrong, because once again, when people are banning books, it's because things are not right. Never, ever.
Welcome to the dystopian states of America, because we're not quite there yet, but it doesn't take much imagination to realize we can get there.
Well, and it's interesting because we have these movements and these actions, and we have people in government that are willing to support them. Like, okay, you have the guy calling for beheading. I'm not saying he has government support. Like, God, if I heard that, I would have said that earlier. So that's not what I'm saying. But you do have these people who are making traction, especially with stuff that we're going to talk about next week, stuff we've already talked about today. There's a lot going on. But at the same time, there's a lot of conversation, and there's a lot of pushback, and there's a lot of people now, like, it's almost stoking fires in people as they realize that this is a big deal, and that our country really is divided in terms of our ideology, not just our politics, but like what we believe and how we decide how we're going to treat people and how we're going to educate people. Basic fundamentals of human society are being questioned and challenged and talked about. And so I want to think that there's a silver lining. Like, I want to think, I mean, trust me, it scares the hell out of me too. And I do wonder if we're just going, quote unquote, to hell in a handbasket. But I like all the activism that I'm seeing in response to these things, and how people aren't just taking it quietly anymore. That it's actually a conversation, it's a fight. It has to be justified and rejustified and rejustified, which means with enough voting and enough public activism and social activism and political activism, that ground can eventually be regained. I have faith that it could be. It's just a matter of if we're willing to fight the fight or not. So, I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I absolutely need to fight the fight. And honestly, I kind of wish we were going to hell in a handbasket, mostly because I don't believe hell exists. So therefore, yeah, go ahead, bring it on.
No, it's because all the coolest people are there.
Yeah, you do know that it still means that your country is going to, it's turning into, yeah, I'm going to quote Cynthia, it's turning into shit, and you shouldn't allow that. I mean, I'm being very, very depressive right now. I've said many times that I'm scared about the situation over there. But you know what? I agree with Laura that it's good to see activism. It's good to see people doing these things. And I think that we have to keep fighting, even if we feel that we are not doing much. We have to show that we cannot, just. We shouldn't give up. That's where I want to go. We must not give up, and we have to keep doing this. And all activists out there, please, people, talk. I don't want to call to action, but oh, come on, look at what is happening. And I will shut up with that, Laura.
No, you're absolutely fine there, Teo. But I do think that we should go ahead and wrap this show up in a nice little bow. And Laura, why don't you give us your final thoughts?
So my final thoughts might not be what you guys think. I want to go back around to the idea of banning the Bible in the first place. So I already gave my opinion on banning books in general, but let's talk about just the Bible. I don't think that the Bible should be banned in schools, nor do I think that any religious text should be banned in schools. In fact, I think they should be taught. I think when you teach religious pluralism, and you teach mythology, and you teach history, and you teach religion within its historical context and where it came from, and what it is that early teachers of that religion taught versus what they're taught today, compare and contrast, all of that stuff is good for critical thinking, and none of it should be taboo where it's like, oh, we don't talk about Bruno. Okay, like I think it's really, really essential that if I'm going to be as passionate about not banning books like the ones that they've been banning in terms of math books, I think I should be just as passionate about saying you shouldn't ban the Bible.
Yeah, I have to agree with Laura in there. I always talk against the Bible, but I always say people read the Bible, realize what is written in here, because it's important that you know that.
Yeah, if it's part of a world history curriculum, I have absolutely no problems with learning, the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, going back to ancient Egypt, ancient Greece. Absolutely. Not like you do a deep dive in each and every last one of the religious texts, because just trying to get through all the different translations of the Bible is just
Be
darn
monumental. You can't do
yeah,
that.
you can't do it. You absolutely can't do it. And I mean, if we're gonna reference Encanto in any way, shape, or form, I prefer surface pressure, but that's just me.
Once I heard the song.